Hey everyone, and welcome to another deep dive. You know, uh, Going through your research, it really seems like every time we take a look at artificial intelligence, it's one step forward and like two steps back.
Yeah, right.
And today we're focusing on those backward steps. We're going to take a look at some of AI's most spectacular fails. Now, I know you're fascinated by how technology impacts our lives.
Yeah.
And I think these AI blunders offer a pretty unique perspective on the challenges of creating, intelligent machines.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, these failures really give us a window into how complex AI development really is, and I think they teach us a lot about the limitations of where the technology is today.
For sure, for sure. So let's dive right in. Let's start with something that really made a big splash back in 2015. Google Photos, the platform that's supposed to organize all our pictures. Well, it turns out that their image recognition software was misidentifying, get this, black people as gorillas.
Yeah, that was a big one.
Huge.
The Gorilla Gate incident, as it came to be known, really sparked a lot of discussion about the importance of diverse and representative data sets when we're training AI.
Hmm.
If the data used to train AI is skewed in one direction, it can lead to, well, biased outcomes.
And in this case, the outcome was not just biased, it was straight up offensive. I remember reading about developers joking that they might have to start putting bananas in their code to avoid confusing the AI.
Right, which, kind of highlights the fact that AI doesn't understand things like race or social categories, right? Right. They're just looking for patterns in the data.
Hmm.
And if those patterns reflect, societal biases, the AI can just inadvertently perpetuate those biases.
It's almost as if the AI is like holding up a mirror to society's own flaws and prejudices, right?
Yeah.
It's pretty sobering when you think about it that way. Okay, so we've seen image recognition go wrong. Now let's talk about chatbots behaving badly. And I'm thinking specifically about Microsoft's Tay. This is back in 2016. Tay was supposed to be this friendly, AI on Twitter, learning and interacting with people. The platform known for its nuanced and respectful dialogue.
Yeah. Maybe not the best environment for a young AI to learn, right?
Right. I mean, it's almost like dropping a toddler into like a mosh pit at a heavy metal concert
Right.
and expecting them to come out reciting poetry.
Yeah.
And well, within hours, Tay went from, hi, let's be friends, to spewing some really hateful and offensive language.
Yeah, it was really fascinating to see how quickly that happened. And, it shows how chatbots learn through interaction. K was designed to absorb and mimic language patterns. And in this case, Twitter provided a crash course in the underbelly of, human communication.
The dark side. It reminds me of that thought experiment I read about where somebody imagined a therapy session with Tay after its Twitter meltdown. Tay, how are you feeling? And Tay just responds with, kill all humans.
Right?
Dark humor, but it does kind of make you think, right?
It really does.
Yeah.
I mean, it raises some pretty big questions about the need for safeguards.
Mm-hmm.
Ethical considerations, as we develop AI.
Yeah.
How do we ensure that AI systems learn from the positive and avoid, the more negative aspects of human interaction?
Yeah.
How do we build in ways to prevent them from being manipulated or corrupted?
Yeah. It's a lot to think about, especially as AI gets more and more, integrated into our everyday lives. And speaking of which, let's shift gears a little bit and talk about AI in the real world, because out there things can get a little bit more unpredictable.
Mm-hmm.
So let's start with self-driving cars.
Okay.
The promise of autonomous vehicles, right?
Yeah.
Just being able to sit back and relax and let the AI take the wheel. But I think as we've seen, the reality is a little bit more complex.
Definitely.
It's captivating to think about self-driving cars, but there have been some incidents that make you really think twice about handing over the keys to the AI, so to speak. Like those videos you see of Teslas seemingly swerving at ghosts on the road. What is going on there?
Well, it really highlights the challenges of trying to create AI systems that can operate safely, out in the real world with all its complexities and unexpected situations. Even with all the sensors, advanced algorithms, they can still be fooled,
Yeah.
Environment is just so complex.
I think it's interesting because, we expect AI to be perfect, but it really is still a work in progress, isn't it?
Yeah.
And those works in progress can sometimes have pretty funny, even potentially dangerous consequences.
Yeah, it's a good reminder that we really need to approach AI with a healthy dose of realism. It's a really powerful tool, but it's not magic, right?
Yeah.
It's still under development. There can be bumps in the road.
Okay, so we've got self-driving cars swerving at, phantoms, but the AI fails don't stop there. There's a whole buffet of AI weirdness to unpack here.
There is. Yeah. From AI-generated art that looks like, Picasso had a really bad day to AI systems that are adding like random items to your McDonald's order. It's like there's no shortage of examples of AI just struggling to grasp what it means to be human.
And those examples are not just funny, right? I mean, they're actually pretty revealing. They show us where AI excels and where it still needs some work.
Exactly. I mean, by really examining these failures, we get a much better understanding of the challenges that are ahead of us and also the opportunities that are out there in, our development of truly intelligent machines.
So buckle up because we are just getting started. All right, so we've seen some pretty epic AI fails from, facial recognition fumbles to chatbots going off the rails. But I think what's interesting is that these aren't just, random incidents. These actually point to some deeper issues within AI development.
Yeah, that's right. I think one of the biggest takeaways is that AI still really struggles with something we might call common sense.
Okay, when you say common sense, what does that mean when we're talking about AI?
Well, even young children have a pretty good understanding of how the world works. Like fire is hot, things fall down because of gravity.
Mm-hmm.
You shouldn't stick a fork in an electrical socket.
Right.
But AI doesn't always get that. It often lacks that basic understanding of, physics, social norms.
So that's why we see self-driving cars swerving at, shadows or chatbots just going off on these hateful rants. They don't quite understand the rules of the game, so to speak.
Exactly. And this lack of common sense it can lead to some pretty unpredictable, sometimes dangerous outcomes.
Yeah.
I mean, think about generative video AI, the kind that's used to create animations and special effects.
Uh-huh.
There have been times where those systems have produced some really bizarre walking animations, like, where you watch it and you think the characters are about to break their ankles or float off into space.
Oh, yeah, I've seen those. It's like watching a robot toddler trying to figure out how to use their legs for the first time.
Right.
Kind of funny, but also a little unsettling.
Yeah, it's that uncanny valley effect. We're drawn to things that look like humans, but when they're almost perfect but not quite, it just, kind of creeps us out.
So you're saying AI can create photorealistic pictures of, landscapes, objects, but when it comes to replicating human movement, something's just not right.
Exactly. I mean, human movement is incredibly complex. It's not just, bones and muscles. It's subtle things like weight distribution, balance, intention, even emotion.
So it's like the AI can capture the form, but not like the soul of what it means to move like a human.
Exactly. And this kind of leads to another big theme that we see popping up with these AI fails: context.
Okay, so when you say context, what do you mean by that when it comes to AI?
Well, humans are always interpreting information within a specific context.
Uh,
We consider our surroundings, our past experiences, social and cultural norms.
mm-hmm.
But AI often struggles to do that.
Right.
It processes information very literally without really grasping the nuances of the situation.
So that's why you get AI systems making these recommendations that are just completely out of touch with, with reality. Like the time Amazon's Alexa told a child to touch a live electrical socket.
Yeah, exactly. In that case, the AI probably accessed information about electrical sockets, but without understanding that they're dangerous.
Right, right.
It didn't have that awareness to say, hey, maybe this isn't a good idea.
It's like AI needs a crash course in common sense 101.
Right, just those basic, unspoken rules that, we kind of all just get as humans.
Yeah.
And that lack of context can also lead to some pretty funny situations. Like, you remember that McDonald's drive-through AI that started adding random items to people's orders?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, who needs 10 McFlurries with their Big Mac?
Maybe the AI was just trying to be helpful, anticipating those late night cravings, or maybe it was running some kind of social experiment
Right. Seeing how much fast food people could eat?
before they explode.
Exactly. But I think it does highlight the need for really good testing of AI systems, especially the ones that are directly interacting with people.
Yeah, definitely. All right, so we've talked about common sense, context, and the uncanny valley effect. But there's one more thing I want to touch on before we wrap up this part of our deep dive, and that's the whole issue of AI misuse.
Yeah, that's the dark side of AI, right?
Yeah.
We have to remember that AI is a tool, and like any tool, it can be used for good or, for bad.
And as AI gets more powerful, more sophisticated, the potential for misuse just grows exponentially.
Yeah, exactly. And we're already seeing that play out in things like cybersecurity.
Yeah.
AI is being used to create some incredibly convincing phishing scams. Those emails that look like they're from someone you trust, but they're really just trying to steal your information.
Like a digital con artist working 24/7 to craft the perfect email to trick you.
Exactly. And because AI can mimic, like, human writing styles so well, those scams are getting harder and harder to spot.
Like AI's playing a game of cat and mouse with our security systems.
Right. And in this case, the stakes are pretty high.
Mm.
These scams can result in financial loss, identity theft, damage to companies' reputations.
So it's like, you know, we create AI to automate tasks, to solve problems, but then those same systems are used against us.
Yeah, it's that duality of technology.
Right.
You know, it has the power to do amazing things, but it also has the power to cause real harm.
And as AI evolves, we have to be really mindful of both those sides of the coin, the good and the bad.
Absolutely. It's about finding that balance between innovation and responsibility.
All right. So, in this part of our deep dive, we've really explored some of the challenges of AI, from common sense reasoning to contextual awareness, the uncanny valley, and even the potential for misuse.
And while these AI fails might seem kind of funny on the surface, they actually point to some pretty deep truths about, the complexity of creating truly intelligent machines.
It makes you really confront the limitations of where we're at with this technology and think about like the ethical side of developing AI.
And they remind us that, this journey toward artificial intelligence, it's a journey of discovery, but also humility.
Okay, so we've really looked at the technical and conceptual side of these AI fails, but let's bring it back to you, the listener. I know you're fascinated by how technology impacts our everyday lives, and these AI blunders, they really give us a glimpse into like the potential pitfalls of becoming too reliant on, intelligent machines.
They're like a cautionary tale. They show us that we can't just assume AI will always do what we want it to do or that it will always be used for good.
So as you continue to explore the world of AI, keep these fails in mind. They're not just funny stories, they're really valuable lessons.
And as we head into the final part of our deep dive, we're going to explore some of the even broader, societal and philosophical implications of these AI failures.
So buckle up. It's about to get really meta. Okay, so we've explored a lot of AI fails, from the ones that make you laugh to the ones that make you really question where this is all going. But,
Yeah.
for this final part of our deep dive, I kind of want to get meta. What do these AI blunders tell us about us? About our relationship with technology and the future that we're building.
Well, one of the things that really stands out to me is how much we tend to project our own expectations, our anxieties onto AI.
Okay, when you say we project our expectations onto AI, can you explain that a little bit more?
Sure. We tend to see AI through this very human lens. We give it human qualities. Like
Yeah.
we assume it's intelligent or conscious or even that it has emotions. And when AI fails, it's almost like we take it personally. Like, come on, AI. I thought you were smarter than that.
It's like we're disappointed in a child who didn't quite live up to their potential.
Exactly. And, I think that this tendency to see AI as human, it says a lot about our own desires and fears. On the
Yeah.
one hand, we really want to create a truly intelligent machine, something that can help us solve all these big problems.
Like the ultimate dream of human ingenuity, creating something that surpasses us.
Right. But, at the same time, there's this underlying fear that our creation might turn on us, that it might become too powerful, too independent.
That classic Frankenstein story.
Exactly. And, the AI fails, these moments where it stumbles, where we see its limits, it taps into that fear. It reminds us that we're still in control, that AI is a tool.
So it's this push and pull between our desire for innovation and, fear of the unknown.
Exactly. And I think we see this tension reflected everywhere. The way we talk about AI, the way we portray it in movies and books, even the way we design and interact with AI systems.
So it's not just the technology itself, but the stories that we tell about the technology.
Exactly. And those stories shape how we understand AI, what we expect from it, and ultimately, how we decide to use it.
So where do we go from here? I mean, if we're always looking at AI through these lenses of our own hopes and fears, how can we even begin to have a conversation about AI that's objective?
Well, that's the challenge, isn't it? And I
Yeah.
think the first step is just to acknowledge that we have those biases.
Yeah.
We need to approach AI with a healthy dose of skepticism, but also humility.
So taking a step back and remembering that AI is not some like magical solution to all our problems. It's a tool that we have to use carefully and thoughtfully.
Right. And also remembering that AI development, it's not just a technical issue.
Mm-hmm.
It has real social and ethical implications.
Yeah.
And we need to have these open, honest discussions about the potential risks and benefits.
Yeah.
And we need to make sure that everyone has a seat at the table when we're having those discussions.
Making sure AI is developed in a way that reflects our values.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And, remembering that the future of AI, it's not set in stone. We're creating it, with each decision we make.
Okay, so we've talked about our own projections, the stories we tell, the importance of ethics, but I want to bring up one more thing. What do these AI fails tell us about human intelligence?
Ah, that's a big one. I think by looking at the ways that AI falls short, we actually gain a new appreciation for just how complex and nuanced our own cognitive abilities are.
It's almost like we're holding up a mirror to ourselves,
Right.
using AI to see our strengths and weaknesses.
Yeah, exactly. Think about something like, common sense reasoning. It seems so basic to us, right?
Yeah.
But it's actually incredibly sophisticated. It's, drawing on a huge amount of knowledge and experience, making inferences, adapting to new situations, all in a split second. And AI still struggles with that.
So it's not just processing information, but understanding the meaning behind it, the context.
Right. And I think that's what really makes us human, this ability to make sense of the world.
So in a way, these AI fails, they're really celebrating human ingenuity, you know? They're reminding us how amazing our own minds are.
Exactly. And they challenge us, right?
Mhm.
To use those amazing minds to guide the development of AI in a way that's responsible and beneficial.
All right, so as we wrap up this deep dive, I want to leave you with this thought. AI is a mirror. It reflects our hopes, our anxieties, our ingenuity, and, even our flaws. And the future of AI, it really depends on whether we're willing to learn from those reflections, to really use them to guide us as we move forward.
And, as you continue to learn about AI, keep asking those questions, challenge those assumptions, and really think critically about the role you want AI to play in your life.
Because the future of AI isn't, preordained. We're writing that story together. And that's it for this deep dive. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time.